It gives me the most immense pleasure ever. I keep saying this every single week, but this is the big one. To introduce the biggest guest we've ever had, Mr. Gary V.
How are you, my friend?
I'm awesome.
Thank you.
I'm stoked.
Thank you.
I'm so glad to see you.
Thank you.
I'm so glad you made time.
Thank you. My pleasure. Happy to do it. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And hi, D-Rock, as well. And Andy. So, welcome back to London.
Thank you.
Always good to have you. And what are you over here for this week?
I have an event with Facebook, and I have a very large office here for VaynerMedia, and so I'm always coming through as often as I can. Yeah. So just regular business.
Yeah, just hustling.
Yep, just normal day-to-day stuff.
Cool. And we predominantly talk about food and drink on this podcast, food and drink marketing, brand, social, digital. And thanks to you, it gave me the permission to go and do this, right? You were always saying what's holding you back, and I figured out nothing once I listened to your words. And we tried to give advice to brand marketers and food marketers and just give it for free and just try and help them and give value, as you always do.
Yes.
So when you've been over here, have there been any brands, food and drink wise, that restaurants, pubs, hotels that have caught your eye? Anyone you've seen that has been pretty special?
No, but that's not unique to London. I don't spend much time. To be on the record to say somebody's doing something well would take me, 5, 7, 12, 15 hours of work to feel comfortable to co-sign somebody's marketing executions. And outside of my own clients' work and my own work, it's hard for me to put that kind of allocation to anything. So the answer is no. That being said, I think the food and beverage scene from a macro business sense is really fascinating here. Obviously, I'm a co-founder and investor in an app called Resi, which keeps me a little close to the restaurant scene here. And in general, the marketing skill set and prowess in the UK, London, in general, is strong. Still under investing in places I'm passionate about, like influencers, Instagram, Facebook, things of that nature. But to answer you directly, no, just because it's not what I spend my time on.
Yeah, I guess you're a bit busy and eating on the fly and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I also even it's really interesting. Even when I was far less busy, spending a whole lot of time on other people's executions is just not my natural demeanor. Yeah. Spending my time on watching how people consume other people's content is my natural state, but nothing's really populated in food and drink in this market.
So one of the big challenges we always get and get asked a lot as a food and drink, agency advisor and things like that, is these guys and girls out there are predominantly traditional businesses.
Yes.
So they are really butting against the digital thing,
Yeah, I don't get that. In 1996, my dad had a liquor store in New Jersey. That's as traditional as you get. Yeah. That was 22 years ago. And I put my dad's store online, and I did email marketing, and I did Google, and I did content, and then a couple months after YouTube came out, I started a YouTube show in 2006, which is now 12 years ago. I have no respect and normally I deploy a lot of empathy. I struggle deploying empathy. I struggle deploying compassion. If you were a business operator in 2018, heading, by the time we're recording this in October, 2019, which is when the majority of people are going to listen to this, and your excuse is, well, I'm a pub, or I make tomato juice, or I have 3 restaurants. Digital is oxygen. It's the real world feels secondary. Yeah. To not be a communicator, content producer, part of the conversation, it's gone from cute and naive to grossly negligent. Yeah. And I just think it's unacceptable to be a business in 2019 in the same way that it would be to pay people not minimum wage. I literally believe it's grossly unacceptable.
Yeah. It just feels amazing to me. I was speaking at a conference lunch the other week, And there was still a question in the audience, which was, do you think digital marketing is a good idea? And you're just like, come on, you can't believe it. And also you have well-respected marketing directors who've came through of, FM. I think we're seeing like almost a watershed moment where you've got these marketing directors who went through FMCG programs, etc. They haven't, as you say, paid the respect to learning this new, because I always think about if you were a brain surgeon and you could learn this new thing that would save more lives, you would do it.
Yeah. This is a highly uncomfortable topic for me because my immediate reaction is my preference of them then going out of business.
Yeah.
Like to me, the reaction, I have no interest in convincing anybody of doing digital marketing. I mean that.
Yeah.
So there's no confusion to everybody in this room, everybody watching. My passion to convince people to do digital marketing is actually zero. I don't have the time or energy to convince you that this is right. I'm going to spit my truth in your fucking face, and you're either going to execute it or not. And if you are, you're going to send me an email saying thank you. And if you're not, I'm going to step on you on the way to where I'm going. And I'm not going to feel bad.
Yeah.
Because it is 2019. Yeah. I felt bad in 2002. It was early. The internet was new. I had compassion. It was cute. In 2007, it was like, it was kind of like, hey, annoying, kind of like, but still kind of. In 2012, it's like, you're not smart. In 2019, you deserve to die.
You're just going to look, you deserve to be shot in the head, right?
Yeah, and the good news is you're shooting yourself in the head if you're not marketing digitally in 2019. This is boring.
Yeah.
This is a boring conversation.
Yeah.
I can't wrap my head around the audacity or lack of smarts one is carrying in their body in not thinking that 2019 digital marketing is fundamental, let alone could it work.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely what I'm pushing for us to say. You've got to be 80-90% digitally focused, mindset, budget, allocation, everything,
It's just marketing.
Yeah.
To me, it's like to quantify digital versus traditional, it's just marketing. Really? You think sending direct mail print is a better thing to do than advertising on Instagram as a restaurant? Really sit down with me. You're telling me right now that it's a better deal to spend all that money making a flyer and sending it direct mail, or running a radio ad, or buying a small little ad in a newspaper. This is what you're telling me. Get the fuck out of here.
Okay. This is a lot of language for this time in the morning.
Understood. And you know what? And look, if you're listening and you've made the best apple juice of all time, and if you're listening and your pancakes are better than anyone's, good news. Product wins. So the humans will be your word of mouth, and you don't need to do anything. The problem is 99% of people listening aren't that.
Yeah.
So only 1% gets to be the best of a thing, and so it just seems unbelievably disrespectful to your own family and business to not take this seriously.
So if we move this up a step then, I saw you were doing a lot of 2026 thinking with the team. Is there any highlights, thoughts, headlines you can share with people about 2026, where your head's at for that?
No, there's nothing. When you're thinking that far out, you're pontificating, you're in hypotheses mode. I mean, I think voice is probably the thing I'm most interested in. Again, for this sector, when I wake up in the morning and I, as a matter of fact, because of this Resi board meeting, I was like, oh, maybe, it's not going to work out on this trip, but I was like, maybe I'll want to go to a cool restaurant in London. To grab your phone and search and Google trendy restaurant or go to anything versus, hey, Alexa, what are the 5 restaurants that are hottest in London?
Yeah.
The lack of friction and time saving that voice search is going to do for our society, just think about how much ad revenue is going to be sucked out of Google. Think about, here we are pontificating the last 15 minutes trying to get people to get digital. They get digital tomorrow. They start running Google ads. It starts working. And in 7 years, they don't work anymore because voice took over search.
Yeah.
So voice, I think, is a big deal.
Yeah. because the Danny Mayer episode I've just been showing again and again and again anytime I've been speaking. What about Yelp sort of being the engine for that? Do you see that changing, or the Yelp game having to move up, or what do you think?
Yelp being a voice player, or Yelp
Well, I guess it's based on Yelp, is it? The Alexa?
I see.
Yeah.
I think that if it is, which I'm not sure, but it may be, that is, I would say that's potentially temporary.
Yeah.
Meaning Amazon has the leverage.
Yeah.
So they're doing Yelp a nice, solid right now. And Yelp has content that they're interested in, but I don't see it being Yelp as the backbone of that. It's just too much money involved for Amazon to allow anybody but themselves to kind of control that.
And then in terms of, UI, UX, all that sort of stuff, going through to booking hotel rooms, room service, all the rest of it, going mainstream, are we 3-4 years away, something like that?
Are we talking about voice again?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. 3-4 years? Yeah, look, I mean, there's a lot of people booking hotels through Alexa and Google HomePod right now. 3-4 years feels right-ish, but I don't like guessing time. To me, guessing or predicting has never been what I've done. A lot of people think that's what I do. What I tend to do is social commentate quickly on what's already happened. What has already happened is a lot of Alexas and Google HomePods are in people's homes, which means we're now in the early stages of this getting real. There was a lot of computers in people's homes in 1999. They didn't know what to do with them, per se, but you had the beginning pieces of, okay, the internet's going to happen because everybody has a computer now, which for all the youngsters listening wasn't a truth in 1992. And social media and apps I felt would work because everyone had a smartphone in their hand, so that made sense. These devices are starting to penetrate people's homes. So if you start thinking about what does that look like in 2, 3, 45 years, it starts getting really interesting. Because right now people are using it to play like music. Yeah. And everyone's like, oh, these suck. It's not going to work, Gary. Like, all I do is use it to play music. I'm like, all people used their computer was to play one game in 1994. Yeah. So I'm like, you just don't understand how humans interact with technology.
Yeah. And then the other thing we're getting asked a lot of at the moment is, in terms of employee engagement, there's a huge shortage of people wanting to work in food and drink. It's not seen as sexy or cool or, huge shortage. And then
makes sense.
With Brexit coming up as well, that's going to be a big deal. And obviously we've got our Prime Minister dancing onto the stage last night, which was a bit weird.
What did the Prime Minister do?
Thought
it was fun to dance?
Not so much. With everything that's going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we've got a lot of pub companies, hotel companies, etc. Huge lack of people wanting to do that. So you've got a strong leader in your business, Chief Heart Officer with Claude. So again, what are you doing right, to get the right people in the business, and any advice?
I mean, it's not fair for me to give advice to an industry that doesn't have deal flow. On the other hand, my company has unlimited deal flow. Everybody popping out of university or an 18-year-old kid wants to work in the premier social media digital agency. So my advice in the way you set it up, which is contextual to this market, where Brexit is going to impact immigrant, employee opportunities, and you've got an industry that is not attractive, mainly because of the digital revolution. Hey, kid, would you rather be an influencer and travel the world and have brands pay you, or would you rather wash dishes or serve people? Like, it's not a super complicated value prop. Hey, kid, do you want to videographer people or take photos, or do you want to serve people? Like the hospitality industry in the UK, in London, is in deep shit. But you know what that actually means? Oh, here's how this actually plays out. You're about to all pay a fuckload more money for food and drink because before they go out of business, they're going to raise prices. Yeah. And everyone's going to sit around and complain, and then they're going to have to ask themselves, how did this actually happen? It happened because you let fear dictate your behavior, and thus you get to pay the financial piper. I'm very excited for it all to happen. I love when things play out based on action, either pro or con. I love losing because it means I deserved to lose. I love losing. Yeah. Because I did the wrong thing. Thus, I should lose. Yeah. And I'm very, very excited that people that voted out of hate and fear are going to pay twice as much for a burger that they can no longer afford, and that makes me happy.
I understand. I think also, you know, the thing I'm seeing a lot of rhetoric on at the moment is things like poor old high street, you know, brand, retail, restaurant, whatever. Their business rates are going up, their wages are going up. It's unfair because Amazon only... And I'm thinking, you just need to change your business model.
Of course it's fair.
Yeah.
Was it fair that you started a restaurant and put some other restaurant out of business?
Yeah.
I love this whole fair thing. You put somebody else out of business. It'd be like, oh, it's unfair that the lion ate the zebra. Well, the fucking zebra ate a fucking, I don't know, ant or the grass or whatever the fuck I don't know what zebras eat. But, you know, like this is business.
Yeah.
Like being upset at Amazon because they've perfectly executed for 22 years in a capitalistic environment. I love entrepreneurs and capitalists who start crying for unfair. Yeah. You mean you're sad that you're losing now?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so look, I've benefited for the last 20 plus years, my family business, because of the internet. Amazon now is going to go into wine and liquor across the country because of their purchases of Whole Foods. You know, my dad brings it up. To my dad's credit, he starts crying a little bit about it. And I very quickly jumped in, and he knew there was nowhere to go. He's like, that's the right. I'm like, we have to address this, or we deserve to lose the same way we put a bunch of liquor stores out of business by going on the internet in the first place. Like, I love to lose. You have to respect the game you're playing.
Yeah.
You like winning, you have to like losing. And so if you're sitting on your ass in your fucking store or pub or restaurant and waiting for people to come in and doing nothing about it, yeah, and raising your hand if asking if digital marketing works, and like, we haven't even started. Every single restaurant in the world is vulnerable as last mile delivery becomes real.
Yeah.
Right? Convenience is king. Like, people are going to eat at home more. Mm-hmm. Not that we're not going to go out. We love going out. But the sustainability of the long tail of restaurants will not be there because the 88th best restaurant is not going to be able to survive when 13% of eating behavior is off the table because somebody that normally would go out on a Thursday night, it's just so convenient for home delivery, and the quality of home delivery, and the fact that there's going to be a lot of restaurants that are going to be built that are actually not physical restaurants. They're just making food and delivering. Like, people are just naive to innovation.
Yeah.
And like, cool, like that's the reality of business. Like, go work for somebody if you're not capable of navigating your business. Go work for somebody that can.
Yeah, because I mean, I saw, you know, a couple of conferences, people from Deliveroo, Just Eat have stood up to talk and they've been booed.
Yeah,
right? You're just like, what the fuck?
They're being booed because, and this is just very, very true and has to be said, unfortunately, and it's happening in America as well, unfortunately, we have a very soft capitalistic backbone in the UK.
Yeah. That's true.
Europe's soft, bro. It just is. Like, booing what?
Yeah, booing that they're taking their commission, cannibalizing their business, you know, all that stuff.
I wish I was at that conference. I would stand up and be like, you put the pub down the street out of business because your pub was better.
Yeah.
Or your restaurant was better. Should you be booed?
Yeah. Yeah. But you saw it last night at my hotel. Everyone doing it was like doing a drug deal outside with Deliveroo drivers, you know, like, you know, just like taking the bag and running in. Am I allowed to do this? Am I allowed to? It was quite funny.
People should stand up and boo themselves because they're not bringing customers the value that they want.
That's exactly right.
The utter entitlement that people run around with. Yeah. Like, why do people even go out to eat? Yeah. Like, grandmas should be booing, you know, restaurants because they like to cook for their family. Like, you know, it's just like what like just utter entitlement.
Yeah.
And loser DNA.
Yeah. And then just on that point then about mental health, strength, that sort of stuff, I know you're passionate about this, right? Me too, for sure. What about, you know, any tips for, you know, staying strong, that sort of stuff, you know, because it's hard. It
is hard, and I think it gets harder when you are in. I think the themes of the last 7 minutes have a lot to do with why I feel like I'm in a nice place, and I want more people to take on accountability and eliminate entitlement. Mm-hmm. You become unbelievably depressed and unhappy when you don't think you're in control. Mm-hmm. So if you're sitting and you're like, oh, the government, oh, these delivery services, VCs, oh, Amazon. Once you start feeling helpless, well, it feels incredibly sad. When you feel like, oh, this is fully in my control, and why can't you sell your restaurant and start a nail salon?
Yeah.
Like, you know, like to me, it's just like about, for me, accountability is a stunning aphrodisiac to happiness. It really is. It's a really, really, really great thing. Yeah. Like, I don't know what else to say. You're talking to somebody who's a liquor store wine retailer, then became a wine video blogger, then became an investor, then became an ad guy, a writer, like speaker, like you're in control. And I have talents and things of that nature, but like it's because I didn't dwell. It's you know, and I focused on what I could control. And I think a lot of themes you're bringing up here today, like I'm still pissed about the standing up and booing thing.
No, I know.
I'm real pissed. I really wish I was there.
Yeah.
I would have stood up and be like, "You're all a bunch of losers. Losers.
Yeah.
You suck."
Yeah. Yeah. And I got it back in my lastminute.com Travelocity days as well, you know, from the direct, got the same thing.
It's the same old game, man.
Yeah. So I know I've got you for 2 minutes more because I just saw Eric stick his fingers up at me, I think.
He's very rude. Eric's very rude. Eric and D-Rock both think they're the boss, throwing up their numbers.
They know it. So a couple of last things then. So I was just wanting to sort of look at leadership.
Yep.
So with all the things that you've got going on, how can you keep, you know, being a strong leader and keep everyone drinking the Kool-Aid and being with you?
Well, you know, I think first you have to make sure the Kool-Aid's water, right? Meaning, and why I'm saying that, for anybody who doesn't know the reference, drinking the Kool-Aid's actually a very negative term.
Oh, is it?
You know, yeah, it's a Jamestown reference where everyone got tricked and died, but it's a very interesting thing. And I think you said it in a positive way, but I think people look at it two ways.
Yeah.
And the reason I say make sure it's water is the number one way to lead is by example.
Yeah.
And when I say water, it means like if you're building something on merit and it's the truth and you're winning, it's very easy for people to buy in when the results are happening. Number two, I think it comes down to effort, you know, and paying attention. Like, you know, I have no time. I have 15 minutes allocated for two separate people today, 30 minutes, which is an enormous amount of time. I had 23 for you, right? To two former employees today because I care. And so you have to care. Yeah. The best way to lead is to care and to have the right intent. And so it's super easy for me. I lead by example and I care, and that makes leadership unbelievably easy. When you are making decisions that are selfish or short-term financial, it's very easy not to lead because that means your intent is predicated on money, not on building something meaningful, which is fine. You're more than welcome, but you're also not going to get buy-in to the same level. Like if you're bought into your money and your employees are secondary, thus they're going to act that way as well. And that's fair and that's right and that's cool. And that happens 98% of the time. I think the way to be special is to actually care about your employees and try to build something long-term and meaningful. Thus, you are easily able to execute on leadership.
So two quick fire last ones. This was from a couple of people on Twitter. So best life hack.
For me, it's people. For me, the best life hack is hire more people to do things you're not capable of doing. For example, I don't do logistics. Like I'm incapable of like booking a flight or like getting myself to the next place or scheduling a meeting. I'm just incapable of it. And so I have two full-time assistants. So for me, the life hack ended up being hiring people. I have a full-time trainer. Like my trainer and I worked out this morning at 6 a.m. here. He travels with me. Yeah. Like, you know, so people were the, you know, were the way that I figured it out, which I don't, you know, first of all, you have to be able to afford it and it's not for everybody.
Cool. And then very last one was tip for people starting out in marketing right now. What would you say to them?
Be a practitioner. Yeah. There's way too many people that are headline reading or watching 6 of my videos and parroting my words. Like, know what you're actually talking about. You know, I think one of the things that allows me to feel very confident in myself in this space is I'm the biggest practitioner in the entire ad world. Nobody actually does the work at my level, you know, and I'm doing the work at a scale that most influencers who do it full time don't do it at. So be a practitioner. It is absolutely the most solid piece of advice. Know what you're talking about by doing.
Cool.
Cool.
It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you, mate.
Wish you well. Thanks, man.
Great to see you.
Cheers.